After back-to-back years of selecting linebackers in the first round of the NFL Draft, many fans are wanting to see the Arizona Cardinals select an offensive player. Treylon Burks, a wide receiver from the University of Arkansas, might just be the guy. The true junior receiver could fill one of the biggest needs on the Arizona Cardinals offense, the number 2 wide receiver spot across from DeAndre Hopkins. A young outside receiver could be just what the team needs for the offense to finally gel under fourth-year head coach Cliff Kingsbury. And with many young receivers having immediate impacts on their teams, the Cardinals front office might be very tempted to take one. Let's take a look at what Burks could bring to the team and whether or not the Cardinals should select him at number 23. Burks had what can only be described as okay years his freshman and sophomore seasons at Arkansas. His freshman year only saw 29 receptions on 58 targets for 475 yards. Not particularly impressive. He nearly doubled his yards as a sophomore, going for 811 on 50 receptions and scoring 7 touchdowns compared to 0 his freshman season. The big jump in Burks' production came during his junior year as a Razorback. In 2021, he racked up 1,100 yards and 11 touchdowns and averaged 16.9 yards per reception. Those are great numbers. In fact, he was in the top 10 of the college ranks for yards after catch. Burks jumped up the PFF grades through his college career, going from a 67.9 in 2019 to 85.8 last season in 2021. It's great to see continual progression in prospects, particularly for receivers and offensive players, as it shows they're continually adding new aspects to their game that will help them adjust to the learning curve of the NFL. There is no doubt that Burks is a wide receiver with a lot of tools that will serve him well in the NFL. The real question is, would selecting him at number 23 help the Cardinals win more games? As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, the Arizona Cardinals need a young wide receiver on the opposite side of DeAndre Hopkins. In 2021, AJ Green filled that role, and minus that one infamous play, he did a pretty good job of it. And with Christian Kirk becoming a Jacksonville Jaguar in free agency, it seems that Rondale Moore will take on a much heavier role in the slot. That leaves the other wideout position open for a young receiver like Burks to come in and have an immediate impact on the team. Which brings me to a point of concern with Burks. In college, he played the vast majority of his snaps from the slot. In fact, over his 3 years as a Razorback, the split between outside and slot snaps is nearly 4-1. He did play outside much more during this last season, but even then that only accounted for 79 out of his total 328 snaps. The Cardinals do not need another slot receiver, so can Burks actually play outside? I think the answer is yes. At 6'3" and 225 pounds, he is a big body that also gets consistently good separation. In many ways, his college tape looks like a younger AJ Green. He has a strong lower body and often initiates contact and throws smaller defenders off. He already has a lot of the skills that allow him to win one-on-one matchups with second-level cornerbacks. That should benefit him tremendously with a receiver of Hopkins' caliber on the other side of the field. Earlier in the draft process, it seemed like Burks would go higher than 23. But a disappointing combine performance very well might mean he could fall to the Cardinals in the bottom half of the first round. At the combine, Burks only managed a 4.55 40-yard dash and a 7.28 three-cone drill. Not out of this world by any stretch of the imagination. I do encourage you to watch some highlights and review some of his tape before judging solely off those numbers. His game speed, at least to me, seems much, much faster, and I'm willing to attribute those combine numbers to a bad day. The most common comp for Burks is A.J. Brown. He already has 2 1,000-plus yard seasons and would have reached the same mark in 2021 if he had not injured his chest and calf in the second half of the season. If Burks truly does turn out like Brown, then that is a great number 2 option that later in his career very well might pass into the number 1 territory. So overall, would I like to see Burks be the pick at 23? I like it a lot. I do think there are bigger needs that could be addressed at that spot, but I would understand why the front office feels the need to provide Kyler Murray another young offensive player to grow with. Burks has a lot of the traits you want in a receiver opposite Hopkins. A combination of size, speed, and yards after the catch that should translate well from college to the NFL. There are clear concerns about him being an outside receiver in the NFL when the majority of his college snaps were in the slot. But I think Burks has the skill set necessary to still be successful. If you like these more in-depth videos on draft prospects, let me know in the comments. If you don't, or you have suggestions for other things I could do or things that I can do better, also leave those in the comments so that I can make this a better experience for everyone. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.